If the security camera hadn't recorded it, Emily Carter would never have believed what her 2-year-old daughter did that night. She replayed the footage 3 times, each time with her hands trembling a little harder. In the grainy black and white video, her toddler Lily stood barefoot in the kitchen at 3:00 inches the morning, her small frame swallowed by the oversized pajama shirt she slept in. In her tiny hand was a cookie, clutched carefully as if it were something precious. She placed it gently into the bowl of their aging golden retriever, Buddy. But the cookie wasn't the shocking part. It was what Lily whispered. "You promised to protect Mommy tonight." Emily's breath caught in her throat. Then still, in the same footage, a shadow slipped past the kitchen window. Buddy's bark tore through the quiet house like a siren. And in that instant, as Emily stared at the frozen frame on her phone screen, her entire world tilted. Everything she thought she understood about her daughter, about their old dog, about safety, about reality itself, suddenly felt incomplete, fragile, almost unreal. Before we go any further, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another gripping story like this one. Emily Carter had always believed she was observant. She had built her entire career on it. As a freelance wildlife photographer, she made her living, noticing things most people miss: the twitch of a fox's ear before it bolted, the split-second stillness before a bird took flight, the subtle shift in posture that warned of danger long before claws or teeth appeared. She could read animals better than most people could read faces. Yet somehow, impossibly, she had been blind to what was happening inside her own home. It had started innocently. Lily, barely 2 years old, had developed a deep attachment to Buddy, their elderly golden retriever, whose muzzle had gone white long before Emily ever imagined becoming a mother. Buddy moved slower now, slept longer, and groaned softly when he stood up. But wherever Lily went, Buddy followed. Emily would wake in the mornings to find tiny bits of toast or cereal carefully placed beside Buddy's bowl. Lily would pat the dog's head with serious concentration, like she was completing an important task. Emily, half asleep and always exhausted, would smile from the doorway. Just a toddler who loves her dog, she thought. Sometimes she'd find Lily crouched beside Buddy, her forehead pressed gently against his fur, whispering so softly that Emily could only hear murmur sounds without words. "Lily," Emily would say gently, lifting her daughter into her arms. "Dogs don't talk back. Buddy's just a good listener." But Lily would shake her head, her little face unusually serious. "He tells me things, Mommy." Emily would laugh softly, brushing it off. Toddlers said strange things. And Emily had too many responsibilities, too many deadlines, invoices, groceries, and late nights to overanalyze every sentence her daughter spoke. She was raising Lily alone. Bills didn't wait for imagination. Sleep was a luxury she rarely had. But as weeks passed, the moments became harder to ignore. One morning, Emily froze in the hallway. Lily and Buddy stood side by side in front of the closed basement door. Buddy's body was stiff, shoulders tense, a low rumble vibrating in his chest. Lily rested one small hand on the dog's back, her posture oddly deliberate, like they were guarding something. "Lily?" Emily asked carefully. "What are you doing?" Her daughter didn't turn around. "Mommy, we can't go down there." Emily frowned. "Why not?" "Buddy says no." Emily sighed, rubbing her temples. "Sweetheart, Buddy is a dog. He doesn't tell you things." She stepped forward to open the basement door. Buddy moved. The old retriever planted himself firmly between Emily and the stairs, his growl deepening. "Buddy, move," Emily said, snapping her fingers. Buddy hesitated, whining softly, then stepped aside. Emily opened the door. Cold air rushed up the stairs. Damp, heavy, wrong. The basement looked normal: concrete steps, storage boxes, old equipment, but a sour smell lingered in the air, faint yet unsettling. Emily shut the door quickly. "Let's just stay upstairs today, okay?" Lily nodded, still gripping Buddy's fur. Night was the hardest. Emily lay awake staring at the ceiling, replaying unfinished tasks and unpaid bills in her mind. She worried about Lily's future, about whether she was enough, about Buddy, whose muzzle was whitening faster each month. Months earlier, She had installed a small security system not because she felt unsafe, but because it lowered her insurance premium. The cameras mostly recorded raccoons, stray cats, and Emily herself forgetting to bring packages inside. She never expected them to record anything that mattered. Then came Thursday night. Emily fell asleep at her desk around midnight, face inches from her keyboard. When she jolted awake hours later, sunrise creeping through the blinds, she checked the baby monitor. Lily slept peacefully under her yellow blanket. Then she saw it. Motion detected kitchen, 3:17 a.m. Her heart dropped. She opened the footage. At first it felt unreal. Lily, in footed pajamas, barefoot on the cold kitchen tile, a cookie in her hand, Buddy standing close, tail low, body tense. Then Lily leaned close to Buddy's ear. Emily turned the volume up, expecting babble. Instead, she heard, "You promised to protect Mommy tonight." Emily froze. What kind of sentence was that for a 2-year-old? She kept watching. Buddy stared at the kitchen window. A shadow passed. Not an animal. Not a branch. A person. Buddy lunged forward, barking with a strength Emily didn't know he still had. Lily scrambled back, pressing against the cabinet. The shadow vanished. Buddy barked until Lily placed her tiny hand on his side. Instant silence. Then Lily turned her head, looked straight into the camera, and nodded. Emily shot out of her chair. She ran to Lily's room. "Lily!" she cried, turning on the light. Her daughter sat up sleepily. "Mommy?" Emily scooped her into her arms, shaking. "You're okay. You're okay. I told you," Lily murmured. "Buddy protects us." Emily swallowed hard. "Lily," who was outside. "The bad man," Lily said softly. "But Buddy scared him away." Emily called 911 with trembling fingers. The officers arrived quickly. They reviewed the footage. "Ma'am," one said, "we've had multiple attempted break-ins in this area." Emily felt cold inside. "Your dog scared him off," the officer added. But Emily wasn't looking at Buddy. She was looking at Lily. Later, the truth about the basement came out. Black mold. Dangerous levels. A silent threat. That evening, Emily held Lily close. "I should have listened," she whispered. "Buddy says you were tired," Lily replied. Emily cried. She lifted her camera and captured the moment. Lily curled beside Buddy, one small hand on one large paw. She didn't know it then, but this was only the beginning. In the days that followed, Emily found herself watching Buddy the way she watched animals through her camera lens, slowly, carefully, almost reverently. She noticed things she had never paid attention to before. The way Buddy always positioned himself between Lily and any doorway. How he paused before entering rooms, sniffing the air as if reading invisible warnings. How his ears twitched at sounds Emily couldn't hear. The old retriever no longer felt like just a pet. He felt like a sentinel. And Lily noticed everything too. One morning, Emily woke to the sound of soft humming. She followed it into the living room and stopped cold. Lily sat cross-legged on the carpet, her small hand resting on Buddy's back. The dog lay stretched beside her, eyes half closed but alert, chest rising and falling steadily. Lily hummed, as if calming something unseen. "Lily?" Emily whispered. Her daughter looked up and smiled, calm, certain, far too composed for a 2-year-old. "He says we're safe today." Emily swallowed. "He says that?" Lily nodded, brushing her fingers through Buddy's fur. "He knows when the bad man is far away." The words lingered in the air long after Emily picked her daughter up and pressed her close. She wanted to believe it was imagination, that fear had planted ideas where none belonged. But the footage replayed endlessly in her mind. The shadow, the whisper, the nod toward the camera. Buddy's bark, strong and fearless despite his age. That afternoon, Emily scheduled mold remediation and foundation repairs. As she signed the paperwork, her hands trembled. If Lily and Buddy hadn't stopped her at the basement door weeks earlier, Lily might have been breathing those spores daily. Emily might never have known until it was too late. Buddy hadn't just protected them once. He had been trying for months. That night, Emily tucked Lily into bed and kissed her forehead. "Sleep tight, sweetheart." Lily smiled sleepily. Buddy will listen. Emily paused. Listen for what? For the bad sounds. Lily murmured, already drifting off. Buddy lay down beside the bed, chin on his paws, eyes fixed on the doorway. Emily closed the door with a knot in her chest. Downstairs, she poured herself a glass of water and tried to calm her racing thoughts. But as she passed the living room window, something caught her eye. Footprints, dark impressions pressed into the dew-covered grass, leading toward the back gate. Not hers. Not Lily's. Fresh. Her stomach twisted. She locked every door, double-checked every window, then sank onto the couch with her phone clutched tightly in her hand. She told herself not to panic. The police were patrolling more frequently. Buddy was alert. They were safe. But deep down, she felt it. Someone was still watching. The next few nights passed in uneasy silence. No alarms, no shadows, no footsteps. But the quiet felt stretched thin, like glass under pressure. On the fifth night, just after 2 a.m., Buddy nudged Emily's hand until she woke. His whine was low, urgent, nothing like his usual nighttime restlessness. "Buddy?" she whispered, sitting up. The dog turned and padded into the hallway. Emily followed, heart pounding. They passed Lily's room. She slept peacefully, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Buddy paused, sniffed the air, then continued. He led Emily to the kitchen. Emily stopped in the doorway. The back doorknob was shaking. Slowly, deliberately. Someone was outside. Her blood ran cold. Buddy's growl deepened, vibrating through the floor. Emily grabbed her phone and dialed 911 with shaking fingers. The doorknob rattled harder. Then silence. Buddy slammed his weight against the door, barking with a ferocity Emily had never heard before. She backed away, clutching the phone, barely breathing. The dispatcher's voice crackled through the speaker. "Mom, stay on the line. Officers are en route." A heavy thud hit the door. Emily screamed. Buddy hurled himself forward again, barking with everything left in his aging lungs. Then, footsteps. Running, fading. 2 minutes later, red and blue lights flooded the street. Officers searched the yard and found fresh footprints near the back door, deep impressions where someone had crouched, waited, tested the lock. This wasn't a coincidence. This was persistence. Emily didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, Lily crawled into her lap, yawning. Buddy scared him away again, didn't he? Emily froze. "Lily, how did you know?" "He told me," Lily said simply. "He knew the bad man came back." Emily hugged her daughter so tightly, Lily squeaked. Fear and awe twisted together in her chest. She didn't know what scared her more, that someone kept coming back, or that her daughter seemed to know before anyone else. That afternoon, the police returned with new information. A still image from a camera 2 streets away showed a man in dark clothing, peering into a child's bedroom window. The family's dog wasn't home that night, an officer explained. The suspect saw an opportunity. Emily's hand shook. "That could have been us." "It almost was," the officer said quietly. "But your dog prevented it." Emily looked at Buddy, lying calmly beside Lily, his tail thumping softly against the floor. The old retriever met her gaze, steady and aware. That evening, Emily sat on the couch with Lily curled against her and Buddy at their feet. The house was quiet, but the silence no longer felt empty. "Lily," Emily whispered, brushing her daughter's hair back. "When you talk to Buddy, what does he say?" Lily thought for a moment. "He says he loves us. He says he keeps watch so the bad man doesn't hurt Mommy." Emily bit her lip to keep from crying. "And how do you know that?" Lily tapped her chest. "I hear him here." Emily pulled her close, overwhelmed by the realization that whatever this bond was instinct, intuition, something older than language, it was real. And it wasn't finished yet. Over the next several weeks, the story quietly spread through the neighborhood. It wasn't a headline or a viral clip yet, just murmured conversations at mailboxes and hushed thank yous during evening walks. People stopped Emily to ask if it was true. They bent down to scratch Buddy's ears with new respect, offering biscuits and gentle praise. Buddy accepted it all with quiet dignity, his tail wagging softly, never demanding attention. Lily loved it. She would stand proudly beside him, her small hand gripping his fur like a badge of honor. "Buddy keeps watch," she would announce to anyone who listened. "He always knows." Emily smiled when she heard it, but she never corrected her daughter. Not anymore. Something in her had shifted. The part of her that once needed proof for everything had softened. She no longer watched Buddy like a pet. She watched him like a protector nearing the end of a long, faithful duty. And Buddy was getting tired. Emily noticed it in the way he rose more slowly each morning, in the deeper sighs when he settled onto the rug, and how he sometimes stared into space, as if listening to sounds far beyond the room. Yet at night, no matter how exhausted he seemed, Buddy always placed himself between Lily and the doors, always facing outward, always listening. One quiet evening, Emily sat on the living room floor with her camera resting in her lap. The house felt different now, safer, but also heavier, as if everyone inside knew something precious was slowly slipping away. Lily played with her stuffed animals, occasionally glancing at Buddy to make sure he was still there. "Mommy," Lily said suddenly, her voice small but certain, "Buddy won't stay forever." Emily's heart clenched. "Why do you say that, sweetheart?" Lily didn't look sad. She looked thoughtful. "He says his job is almost done." Emily pulled her daughter close, pressing her cheek against Lily's hair. She didn't trust herself to speak. That night, Buddy didn't go to his usual spot by the bed. Instead, he lay beside Lily's crib, resting his head against the wooden slats. Emily watched from the doorway until her eyes burned, then quietly turned off the light. Just before dawn, Emily woke to a familiar sound, a soft, insistent whine. "Buddy?" she whispered. She rushed to Lily's room. Buddy lay on the floor beside the crib, breathing shallowly, eyes calm but distant. Lily stood quietly inside the crib, one small hand reaching down through the slats to touch his head. "He's okay, Mommy," Lily said softly. "He's just very tired." Emily knelt beside him, her hands shaking as she stroked his fur. Buddy's tail thumped once. Slowly, purposefully. The veterinarian arrived within minutes, but Emily already knew. She held Lily close as Buddy took his final breath, surrounded by the family he had guarded with everything he had. The house felt unbearably quiet afterward. Lily cried, but not the way Emily expected. She didn't scream or panic. She cried softly, curling into Emily's arms. "Buddy says it's okay," she whispered. "He says he'll still watch us, just in a different way." Emily kissed her daughter's forehead, tears soaking Lily's hair. In the days that followed, grief moved through the house like fog. Emily found Buddy's hair on the couch, his bowl in the corner, his leash by the door. Each one felt like a small wound. Then, the photograph changed everything. Emily had submitted the image she'd taken weeks earlier, Lily resting beside Buddy, golden light wrapping around them, to a wildlife and human interest photography competition. She hadn't expected anything. She hadn't even titled it carefully. It won. The photo spread quickly. News outlets reached out. Interviews followed. People wanted to know the story behind the image. The old dog, the child, the danger that never fully came. Emily told the truth. She spoke about intuition, about instinct, about listening to what we can't always explain. And she spoke about Buddy. Messages poured in from strangers. People shared stories of dogs who sensed seizures, fires, intruders, guardians who never spoke, yet always knew. Emily realized then that Buddy hadn't been unique. He had simply been faithful. One evening, weeks later, Emily sat with Lily on the porch, the sun dipping low and casting the same golden light Buddy had loved. Lily leaned against her, peaceful. "Mommy," Lily said quietly, "Buddy says you don't have to be scared anymore." Emily closed her eyes. For the first time in a long while, she believed it. She looked at the yard, the house, the quiet street, and she felt it, a deep, steady calm. Somewhere beyond fear, beyond understanding, Buddy had done his job. Not just once, but every day he chose to stand between danger and the people he loved. He hadn't barked for attention. He hadn't needed words. He had listened. And Lily, Sweet, intuitive Lily had listened too. Together, they had formed a bond older than language, stronger than fear. A bridge between instinct and innocence, human and animal. A bridge that saved lives. Emily whispered into the quiet evening air, "Thank you." The wind stirred gently through the trees, and for a moment, just a moment, it felt like someone was still watching, still listening. If this story reminded you that some of the strongest guardians never speak, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share it with those you love, because sometimes the ones protecting us most are the ones we almost overlook. And sometimes, belief is simply learning to listen.